the first time since 1908, the Chicago Cubs are World Series champions in a matchup of two hard-luck clubs. The Cubbies prevailed 8-7 in 10 innings Wednesday night in a memorable, epic Game 7. The two teams combined for a 176-year drought when it came to World Series victories. The Cubs dealing with the curse of the Billy Goat, and the Indians coping with the curse of Rocky Colavito. Talk about some drama in Major League Baseball, and it lived up to the billing. Rajah Davis connected on a 3-run homer against closer Aroldis Chapman with 4 outs to go. That made it 6-6, but the Cubbies rallied again in the 10th as World Series MVP Ben Zobrist delivered a go-ahead RBI on a double down the third base line. The Cubs tacked on another run in the top half of the 10th. Davis provided an RBI single with 2 outs for the Indians in the bottom half of the inning, but Mike Montgomery got Michael Martinez to ground into the final out. Bedlam and Chicago, the curse is over. The Cubs and the city will celebrate today with a parade and a rally in downtown Chicago. The lovable losers came back from down 3-1 in this series to win games 5, 6, and 7. Only the 6th team to do that in Fall Classic history. Our BronxNet cameras were in Chicago, where we got a chance to catch up with the faithful. Check this out. It's the Fall Classic here in Chicago, and it's been 71 years since the Cubbies have been in the World Series. We hit the streets to find out whether or not the curse is finally broken. So I take it you no longer believe in curses?
Of course not, you know, and I got to tell you, I have not heard any buzz about the GOAT until I came here to Chicago, and they get all the people selling the t-shirts for, like, you know, I'm not afraid of no GOAT, there's no curse, you're either going to play well or you're not going to play well, but it's certainly not going to be a curse that's going to kill the Cubs this year.
There's so many people that still seem to believe, like, they can't believe that it could happen, but just the idea.
It's going to happen. Shame on you for even bringing that up. It's going to happen. We don't talk about it. We don't want to curse it. It's act normal.
Your idea for the outfits, or no? Usually,
his mother told him to wear something distinctive so she could see him in the crowd. So I found him a bear costume online, and then he said, "Did you get one for yourself as well?" And I'm like, "Really?" And he said, "It's the Cubs, not the Cub."
True story.
Chicago Cubs got the greatest fan.
What does it mean for you both to be here and to be friends and to be on opposite ends of this?
All summer long, we talked about being in Chicago for the Cubs being in the series. I never once thought the Indians would be here. So now for both of us to be here, it's mind-blowing.
I mean, he said it, but I said if the Cubs have a chance to win the World Series, it's this year.
The Indians would win Game 3 1-0. That looked to be the game that turned the series. Here's more with the Cleveland Indians. This is Bobby C. here at the friendly confines in Chicago, and the 3 nights in Wrigleyville were definitely a turning point in the 2016 World Series.
Well, you're going to see pitching and defense wins games. When we had bad defense, like we did in Game 2, then you're going to lose a game. But when we tighten up what we need to do and play the defense that we're capable of playing, we're one of the better defensive teams, and you combine that with effective pitching, it's going to be hard to score runs on us, and that wins games.
I mean, it's pretty nice. It's what we want to do. You know, it's a big swing game right here, especially coming into their park, and you know, it's going to be tough. So, I mean, for us to get this game tonight, it's definitely huge.
Grind it out, try to play the game the right way, play the game that we know how to play, and don't listen to everything else. That's for y'all to kind of predict and all that kind of stuff. So for us, it's just go out there and play the game and see what happens.
It was a great game. Defense, unreal. The Cubs are a really, really good team. Joe Madden, he knows how to play the cards. Teddy Francona does the same thing. I'm glad I'm being part of this.
You know, we've got starters going on short rest. We've got confidence in our bullpen. We've got depth. I think you try to find a way that works, and you know, tonight, fortunately, we did.
I think the team, they doing a great job. We're fighting every game, and that's why.
But after winning Game 4 behind ace Corey Kluber, the Indians could not find that final W. Instead, the Cubs would fly the W in Chicago Sunday night and twice more in Cleveland Tuesday and Wednesday nights, respectively. Epic series, more on the Fall Classic in the C list. We'll also have more on Sports NYC. A matchup of two top-of-the-pack teams. That was the story Thursday night at the Garden. Here's more. Edmonton and the Rangers came to Thursday night's action at the world's most famous arena at 10-7 on the season, but it would be the Broadway Blue Shirts that would get the better of a former Ranger, Cam Talbot, in goal, winning this one 5-3.
I mean, they're fast. I mean, they're young and they fly. So, you just got to find a way to get in front of them. And, they're going to get their looks, but you got to find a way to take care of the puck because anything that's given to them, they're probably going to make you pay for it. So, I mean, they're a good team. They're going to get their looks, but, for the most part, I thought we did a good job of keeping the puck out of the players' hands.
The game was tied 1-1 after the first period and then 2-2 after the second. It was in the third period that the Rangers finally broke through.
At the start, I think we were kind of surprised how fast they were, and they're swinging every which way and coming back and going forward and sending it back, and then all their forwards are attacking, and it was kind of new for us, and we kind of just got to adjust. And ultimately in the third, we kind of just wanted to get it deep and make their D start their rush instead of their forwards, and that was our game plan.
Newcomer Michael Grabner has made an immediate impact on the Rangers' offense.
I was talking to the coaches when I signed here, and kind of knew what my role is, and I just trying to chip in some offense as well. So I scored some goals in this league before, and it's nice that's going in for me right now. So hopefully I can keep it up for the rest of the year.
With under 2 minutes, Rick Nash provided the game winner.
I think we stick with it. We know we're a good team, and obviously the last few games we played some really good teams, but it shows a lot when you go down 3 times and you come back every time.
Broadway Blue Shirts are now 8-3. They have Boston up next. They'll face the Bruins in Boston Saturday night before returning to the world's most famous arena Sunday for Winnipeg. The New Jersey Devils lost 4-3 in overtime to Florida Thursday night. The Devils are 4-2-3. They'll be in Tampa Saturday. The Islanders are also coming off a loss. They fell 3-2 to Philadelphia in the shootout. The Isles host Edmonton Saturday night. They are 4-6-1 to start the year. Time for some quick hitters from around the world of sports on the NBA hardwood. The New York Knicks did win their home opener against Memphis last Saturday, but in between they fell in their season opener at Cleveland and dropped 2 other games, one on the road in Detroit and then at home Wednesday night to James Harden in Houston. It's still very early, but there are some trouble signs for point guard Derrick Rose and the Orange and Blue, who entered tonight's game at Chicago at 1-3. Brooklyn, projected to be far worse than the Knicks this season, is 2-3 out of the gate, including a victory over Detroit Wednesday night. The Nets are home tonight for Bronx boy Kemba Walker and the Charlotte Hornets, but they will be without point guard Jeremy Lin. Lin has looked strong, but is sidelined by a bum hamstring. Both local MLS teams did not fare well in their first playoff games. NYCFC lost 2-0 to Toronto, while the Red Bulls were shut out 1-0 to Montreal. Both teams are back in action Sunday in the second leg of the semifinals. Our BronxNet cameras will be in the building at Yankee Stadium for the 6:30 p.m. start, the first home playoff game in NYCFC history. In American football, the Jets did manage a victory in Cleveland last Sunday, albeit after trailing early to the lowly Browns. This Sunday, Gang Green will travel to Miami to face the rival Dolphins. Both teams have 3 wins. Big Blue, off the bye week, will be home Sunday at 1 p.m. for a rivalry game of its own. The Giants host Philadelphia. Both teams are 4-3. This is a big early season matchup that could have playoff implications when we look back much later in the year. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for a World Series wrap-up. Although I picked the Chicago Cubs to win the World Series at the start of the year, I must admit I was rooting for the Cleveland Indians just a little bit. I like their grit. Who doesn't love Rick the Wild Thing Vaughn? Actor Charlie Sheen made his way to Game 7, but even he couldn't help the Indians nail down one more victory. Last week on the show, Wild Thing made an appearance and alluded to the numbers. Game 1 losers had lost the past 6 World Series and 12 of 13 and 17 of 19, but the Cubs showed that sometimes numbers really don't mean much when you have talent like they do. Yes, the curse stood in their way, but they were the favorites and the better, albeit not by that much, better team this year. It struck me funny that a rain delay in extras held up one of the greatest games in World Series history. In my book, it would have been fitting that that series ended in a tie. And as much as I will be rooting for the Yankees and Mets this coming season, I wouldn't mind seeing the Indians and the Cubs meet again, especially if they could provide anything close to that epic 7-game series. Perhaps next time around, the Indians get the better of the Cubs and end their woes in October. That's your look at sports. I'm Bobby C.